Hello everyone, welcome back to this lecture series on chemical and physical equilibria. This is lecture number 5. In the last lecture I have discussed about the thermodynamic derivation of equilibrium constant. What I am going to do in this lecture is that I am going to discuss Van 't Hoff reaction isotherm. Okay, let's get into the topic. For begin with, so in the last class, the last lecture, we have derived an expression for equilibrium constant. Okay, if the reaction involves gases, okay, suppose if we take, if I consider a homogeneous gas phase equilibrium reaction, okay, equilibrium reaction, then we can write equilibrium constant as product of pi I into pi I of yi phi hat power nu I into pi I of p by p naught whole power nu I. Okay, this is the expression for equilibrium constant if the equilibrium reaction involves only gases. Okay, see, this equation is applicable whether the gases are ideal gases or real gases. Okay, it's a general expression. Suppose if I consider all the species involved in the reactions behave like ideal gases, right? Okay, if I assuming all the species involved in the reaction, okay, in the reaction as ideal gases. Okay, if I assume them as ideal gases, see, for ideal gas the fugacity coefficient, okay, for each and every species become equal to 1. Okay, and we also know that the standard pressure, we usually keep standard pressure as 1 bar. Okay, so I'll make this as 1 and I'll make this P naught as 1. So what we'll get is equilibrium constant K is equal to pi I into yi power nu I into I'll combine them, P power nu I, where this P is the total pressure. Okay, total pressure power nu I we have, right? Or we can also write this as pi I, right? This is mole fraction into total pressure for ideal gas is nothing but partial pressure. So partial pressure of the ith species whole power nu I. This is the equilibrium constant expression. Okay, if the species involved in the gas phase reaction are ideal gases. Okay, say for example, suppose if we take a reaction like this, H2 gas, okay, reacts with I2 gas giving 2HI gas. Okay, suppose if we have a reaction like this and assume that here hydrogen, iodine, hydrogen iodide, everything as ideal gases. So I am going to assume, so assumption, this is the assumption, I am going to assume that hydrogen, iodine and hydrogen iodide all are behave like ideal gases. Okay, ideal gases, right? See, in a, suppose if an equilibrium reaction is given, and if they didn't mention anything about whether the gas is ideal or real, then you can assume it as ideal gases. Okay, you can assume all the gases as ideal gases under that situation, right? So H2, I2 and HI all are ideal gases here. Then if all are ideal gases, then we can write equilibrium constant as, okay, yeah, how to write the equilibrium constant? So first yeah, I'll write in this way as per the expression. Let me change the color of my pen. Yeah, so K is equal to partial pressure of hydrogen. Okay, what is the stoichiometric number for hydrogen? It is -1 into partial pressure of iodine. Okay, because it is given here that you have to take you have to multiply every term, right? So partial pressure of iodine, iodine is also reactant, so -1 into partial pressure of hydrogen iodide. Hydrogen iodide is a product here, so it is power 2. Okay, so you can also write this as partial pressure of Hi power 2 by partial pressure of H2 partial pressure of I2. Okay, so this is the nothing but equilibrium constant for this reaction. Okay, see, you can write directly, suppose if the gases are ideal gases, you can write directly the equilibrium constant in such a manner that you write the partial pressures of the product in the numerator and partial pressures of the reactant in the denominator. Okay, it is very simple, right? And since, see, this equilibrium constant involves only partial pressure, okay, so you can also represent this equilibrium constant as Kp. Why it is represented as Kp? Because this equilibrium constant involves partial pressures of the product and partial pressures of the reactant. So we can call this equilibrium constant as equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. Okay, yeah, so it's simple. Right, now suppose if the equilibrium reaction involves liquid phase, if it occurs in a liquid phase, right? So in liquid phase, homogeneous equilibrium reactions, right? Equilibrium reaction, then how to write the equilibrium constant? We know very well, if it is in liquid phase, then K is equal to pi I into activity of ith species whole power nu I. This is a general expression. Okay, activity of the ith species whole power nu I, right? We know very well that in a chemical reaction, suppose this, assume that this is the potential energy and this is the reaction coordinate. Okay, assume that this is the reactant average energy and this is the average energy of the product. In a chemical reaction, you know very well, reactant never form product directly in a reaction. Okay, so what actually happens in reality, what happens is that the reactant molecules acquire energy, okay, and goes to a maximum, right, and then forms the product, right? This is how the reactions will occur. Okay, right? So, and this energy is what we call as energy barrier for the reaction. Energy barrier for the reaction. If any reactant molecules, okay, attains or gets this much energy, okay, if it crosses the energy barrier, then that reactant molecule can form product. Okay, so suppose if we have 100 reactant molecules here, not that all 100 molecule will reach the energy barrier. Okay, so among 100 molecule, right, there may be 90 molecules or 80 molecule may reach the energy barrier and form product. Okay, so the total number of molecules may be very large, but the active molecules means molecules which cross the energy barrier. Okay, the active number of molecule will be less, right? So here activity, right, activity is never be equal to activity is not equal to concentration. Okay, see, 100 is the concentration, but how many molecule crossing the energy barrier? Suppose if I assume 80 molecule, then that 80 is the active active molecules. Okay, so activity, right, usually not equal to concentration, right? In general, we can say activity will be less than concentration. This is the usual one. Very rarely it may be equal to concentration. Okay, so activity is less than or equal to concentration, right? And we can relate activity and the concentration using using the activity coefficient. So A is equal to gamma into C, where gamma is called activity, this is activity, and this is called activity coefficient. Okay, activity coefficient, right? In dilute solutions, right, you can assume that activity, right, is roughly equal to concentration. So if the reaction occurs in liquid phase, right, if the solution is dilute enough, okay, so that we can represent activity, or we can equate approximately activity into concentration, right, then we can also write the equilibrium constant K as pi I into concentration of the ith species power nu I. We can write this. Okay, this is under the assumption that activity coefficient is 1, okay, under a given set of condition, right? So usually if the solution is dilute enough, okay, then we can assume that activity coefficient as 1, and we can say that activity and concentrations are approximately equal. If you equate activity and concentration, right, then we can write equilibrium constant like this. Okay, so here now see, equilibrium constant is given in terms of concentration. Therefore, I am going to represent this equilibrium constant as Kc. So what is Kc? Kc is nothing but equilibrium constant in terms of molar concentration, or simply concentration. Okay, so I have introduced two terms, Kp and Kc. What is Kp? Equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. What is Kc? Equilibrium constant in terms of concentration. Okay, yeah, so keep this thing in mind. Okay, now I'll give one example and I'll proceed further. Suppose I'll take this reaction, see PCl3 gas combined with chlorine gas and form PCl5. Okay, it's not a homogeneous liquid phase reaction, so I'll take an example in terms of liquid phase. Okay, right, so I'll take this reaction, ester reaction, right, hydrolysis of ester. Methyl acetate reacts with water, okay, form acetic acid plus methanol. This is called hydrolysis of hydrolysis of methyl acetate. This reaction attains equilibrium at a particular stage, right? Now listen here, this is everything is in aqueous phase now. Everything is in aqueous phase. Aqueous, right? So it is a homogeneous liquid phase reaction. For this reaction we can write equilibrium constant directly. Okay, and you know very well, stoichiometric number is negative for reactant and positive for product. So if you write reactant and product together, you will get the reactant power minus values and product power plus value. So if you bring reactant to the denominator, the power term become positive. So I can write directly that equilibrium constant is equal to concentration of the acetic acid. Okay, yeah, we represent concentration using square brackets. Okay, concentration of the acetic acid into concentration of methanol divided by concentration of the methyl acetate ester and concentration of water, right? So this will give you the equilibrium constant, and this equilibrium constant is nothing but Kc, because here all the reactants and all the products are given in molar concentrations. Okay, yeah, so I have given some basic ideas about equilibrium constant, right? We can represent equilibrium constant in terms of concentration, and we can also represent equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. Okay, if you have gas-based reaction, then it is better to use Kp rather than Kc. Okay, yeah. Now let me discuss this part called Van 't Hoff reaction isotherm. Okay, see what is reaction Van 't Hoff reaction isotherm, right? Before going to this one, remember chemical potential mu is equal to mu naught plus RT ln activity of the species in the solution. Okay, similarly, if it is this is for liquid phase. For liquid phase, we'll write chemical potential like this. If it is a gas phase, then we can write chemical potential mu is equal to mu naught plus RT ln fugacity of the compound by fugacity of the compound in the pure state. Right? If it is an ideal gas, then you can write mu is equal to mu naught plus RT ln P. Okay, F naught is equal to P naught, F is equal to P. So, and you know very well, standard pressure we usually keep it as 1 bar. So this is the expression for ideal gas. Okay, so keep all these things in mind. Now let me discuss the Van 't Hoff reaction isotherm. Okay, what is that? See, suppose if a homogeneous reaction is given like this, say X moles of A reacts with the Y moles of B and giving M moles of C and N moles of D. Suppose if I assume that all the species involving the reaction are gases, then we can say that it is a homogeneous gas phase equilibrium reaction. Okay, so this is a homogeneous gas phase equilibrium reaction. Now and also I am going to make an assumption that, okay, I am going to assumption that here A, B, C and D all are behave like ideal gases. Ideal gases. Okay, listen, keep this in mind. This is very, very important. Sometime in problem, okay, they may not mention, okay, that the gases are ideal or real. Okay, if nothing is given, you can assume it. You can assume that all the gases as ideal gases. Okay, yeah. Unless otherwise mentioned that the gases are real gases, right? You can assume all the gases as ideal gases, right? Now, what is the change in free energy of this reaction? Delta G. Okay, change in free energy of the reaction is equal to free energy of the product minus free energy of the reactant. Product minus reactant. Okay, delta G for the reaction, right? Delta G for the reaction is nothing but Gibbs free energy for the product minus Gibbs free energy for the reactant, right? Now in the product side we have two products here, C and D. So what I'm going to do, I'll write here, so number of moles, right, M into stoichiometric number M into free energy of the product C plus N into free energy of the product D. Okay, I'm very sorry, one second, I will write like this. Yeah, instead of free energy we can write like this directly. See, Gp is the free energy of the product, Gr is the free energy of the reactant. Okay, what are the products we have? We have products C and D. Okay, now what we have to do, see the first product, that is C, which has stoichiometric number as M. So M into chemical potential of the product C. Okay, where mu C is nothing but molar Gibbs free energy. Okay, so this is molar Gibbs free energy into M will give you total Gibbs free energy. Okay, plus number of moles of the product D into chemical potential of the product D. So this is nothing but Gibbs free energy of the product minus Gibbs free energy of the reactant can also be written in a similar manner. We can also write in a similar manner that X into chemical potential of the compound A plus Y into chemical potential of the compound B. Okay. Now, see, since I have assumed assumed these species as ideal gases, okay, I am going to use this formula for chemical potential. Okay, so M into, so we can write chemical potential of the compound C, right, as chemical potential of compound C in the standard state plus RT ln, okay, partial pressure of compound C, right, partial pressure of compound C, right, in the mixture, plus N into chemical potential of compound D in the standard state plus RT ln partial pressure of D, okay, minus these two are for the reactant. Now I am going to, okay, these two are for the product. Now I am going to write for the reactant. So for the reactant, X into mu naught A plus RT ln partial pressure of A plus Y into mu naught, I have taken minus as common here, so here I am putting the sign plus, mu into chemical potential of B plus RT ln partial pressure of B, right. So this gives you the delta G. Now listen, see here M into mu naught C, here we have N into mu naught D, here we have X into mu naught A, here Y into mu naught B. So I am going to combine these standard chemical potentials together. So we can write this as, I'll do it in the next page. So delta G for the reaction can be given as M into standard chemical potential of C plus N into standard chemical potential of D, okay, minus X into standard chemical potential of A plus Y into standard chemical potential of B, okay. Then we have other term, that is RT, right. See here, I'll go to the next the previous page. See here, so if I multiply this M here, you'll get RT into M. If I apply power rule, you can bring this M to the power. So we can say directly that RT ln PC power M. Okay, I'll write in the next page. So RT ln partial pressure of C power M. In a similar manner, we'll get RT ln partial pressure of D power N, right. Then we have minus terms, RT ln partial pressure of A power X plus RT ln partial pressure of B power Y, okay. Yeah, see, if you observe carefully this term, right, see here, see the previous page, see here, so this is nothing but delta G for the reaction, okay. So here I have used M into chemical potential of compound C, chemical potential of D, chemical potential of A and chemical potential of B, right. Now see here, the expression looks similar, but instead of chemical potential I am having standard chemical potential. Therefore this term, okay, this term supposed to be equal to delta G naught of the reaction, that is change in free energy of the reaction in the standard state, right. And now if I combine these remaining terms, I will take RT as common. If we take RT as common, we can write this directly as ln. See here I am having ln A plus B, okay, here I am having ln A plus B in the denominator, so we can write directly this as ln PC power M into PD power N by PA power X plus, I'm sorry, it's not plus, yeah, into PB power Y. We will get a term like this, right? Now we know very well at equilibrium delta G for the reaction should be equal to 0. If delta G is 0, right, and at equilibrium delta G reaction is 0, good, then this ratio Pc power m, Pd power n, they are all product which are present in the numerator. Pa and Pb are reactant which are present in the denominator. So that ratio, okay, will attain constant. This ratio will attain constant at equilibrium, okay, and that constant is what we call as Kp. So listen, this ratio becomes constant, becomes a constant at equilibrium. So at equilibrium, not only that delta G of the reaction becomes 0, also that this ratio become constant, and that constant is nothing but Kp, right? So if I introduce that here, so delta G of the reaction becomes 0, and you'll get delta G naught of the reaction plus RT ln Kp, or we can write delta G naught is equal to minus RT ln Kp. Okay. Now if I'll take this as equation number say 1. If I substitute this delta G naught, okay, if I substitute this delta G naught here, okay, what we'll get? Yeah, so delta G naught, delta G, right, change in free energy of the reaction is equal to minus RT ln Kp. In the place of delta G naught reaction, I am substituting this term, plus we have RT ln partial pressure of the product C power m, partial pressure of product D power n by partial pressure of product reactant A power x, partial pressure of reactant B power y. We'll get an expression like this, and this expression is what we call as Van't Hoff reaction isotherm. Van't Hoff reaction isotherm. Okay, why it is called isotherm? Because we are keeping temperature as constant here. Okay, at constant temperature, right, delta G for any reaction can be given like this. See, this delta G is applicable for any reversible reaction. Okay, when it attain equilibrium, then delta G become equal to 0. Okay, yeah, so keep this in mind. I stop here. We'll discuss some more aspects of this chemical equilibria in the next class. Right? Thank you. Thank you for listening.